Hello and welcome to Smitty's. I am a wood cutting fanatic who loves to run a chainsaw. I run alcohol chainsaws, ported chainsaws, I race chainsaws, and I even run the occasional vintage. Now remember, I cannot do this without you. You're everything to the channel, so please remember, subscribe, give that thumbs up, leave that comment. Today, we are going to have a lot of fun. So how you doing? Hey, well, first thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a compression test on this 50 that I built. It's got the Partner 5000 top end, and I did a bunch of work. But I also, raised the exhaust a lot, so it would have lost a lot of that compression that I built. I'm going for an RPM build. So I'm going to do a compression test, see where she's currently sitting, and, we're going to figure that out. I actually got it here. I was actually just getting it screwed on when I decided, let's turn the camera on. So, what do you say we find out? What's the compression sitting at? I think it's decent, but I don't think it's anything crazy. You know what I mean? All right, I'm surprised. That's more than I thought it'd be. So, let me show you the gauge. See if I can get the camera to focus in on it. Maybe if I step over. I got like these squares showing up on my camera. And there we go. We got lucky. So, I'm going to say 220. It's a little over 220. 220 to 225 range. So, yeah, that's more than I was expecting. Alrighty. I didn't think it'd be that high. But, it is. Now, I'd like you guys to try to give me some suggestions on a carburetor. What carburetor do you think we should try to stick on this? There's a couple of them. And, well, there's more than a couple. I mean, I could figure out how to mount just about any carburetor on this. So you guys give me your suggestions on what you think. I want something that's going to flow good, but I don't want it, I want a larger carburetor, but I won't want it too large. So, this saw is built in a manner that the velocity of the air is very important, and I need to keep velocities high. So I want something a little bit bigger, but not too large. You know what I mean? Now, if you're curious to know where the tune is on this saw, since I got the spark plug sitting here, let's see if you can get that to zoom in. You see her? She could be leaned out a little bit. Man, I'm having trouble. But yeah, she could be leaned out a little bit. She's still a little dark. But I wouldn't lean it out up much. You know what I mean? You can see which side was facing down. Me personally, I'd probably run it like that. And, but it could definitely be leaned out just a nibble more. We'll leave it like that, though, until I feel better. At least now I know that, I'm not too lean. Whenever you start pulling these kind of RPMs, you start wondering, am I too lean? You know what I mean? So at least now I know I'm not too lean. And I could actually lean it just a touch more. There we go. Put her back together. Get this top back on. I wasn't expecting compression to be that high. I was expecting the, maybe the 200 pound, but I didn't think it would hit 220, 225. So, hey, might be part of the reason why it runs so good. But I mean, if you look at the racing world, and pretty much all racing applications anywhere, more compression makes more power. You know, and your big race engines, big V8 race engines, all that stuff, they're pushing high compression. So, you know what I mean. Compression makes power. The hard part is getting that compression without screwing up your combustion chamber to a point where your combustion chamber starts doing a reverse effect and slowing you down. So that's the hard part. And I think that's where some people might mistake where the compression slows you down, because, well, you end up with this big freaking huge fat squish band, and that actually can hinder you more than it can help you. So, you know, you got to be careful. Let me fire this thing up real quick. Alrighty, so she's still running. That's a surprise. Now, as far as changes in the port work, because I had said about changing, you know, because the numbers aren't exactly where I was planning on putting them. To be honest, because I know where the numbers are sitting, I'm like, I should make changes. But if I was looking at it without knowing the numbers, I would say, don't change a thing. This saw runs fantastic, and I think I'm going to do. I don't think I'm going to change anything. The numbers are completely weird, like you would not expect a saw to run like this with those numbers, and it does. So, hey, we're gonna let it be. We're gonna leave it like this. I will go for a carburetor, stack filter, and any little tweak, other little tweak that I can think of. And that's what we're going to do. But, yeah, I'm going to call this done for the most part, just a couple of tweaks. I'm not going to go back into it and start messing with it. I'm going to leave the port work where it is. Here we go with a high RPM build that I definitely would not have expected that it needed to be like that, but it performs great, and I'm gonna leave it there. You know what I mean? Could it produce more peak horsepower if I raise the uppers? Possibly. But I could also find myself in a situation where I actually lose something. And, you know, it's one of those things you don't know unless you do it. But it's also one of those things that I'm afraid that I could end up going in the wrong direction. And I don't want to do that. I have another Partner 5000, and I have a Partner 5000 Plus, and I have one of those Partner S55s. So I still got 3 of these 50cc partners that I can work on. You know what I mean? We're going to leave this one the way it is, and we'll play with the numbers more on these other ones. You know what I mean? Now, I'm going to work at cleaning up my bench here. I got, you know, the parts, all the leftover parts from this project here, because I stripped down one saw for parts. So, you know, I got right here, I got a Partner 5000 bottom end here to put some parts away, and then we'll come back with some other stuff. Alrighty? Alright, so now I got the workbench cleaned up a bit here, and I kind of want to show you 2 builds I'm going to be doing. I haven't made a decision yet of where I'm going to start, but I'm going to kind of explain a few things to you here in a bit of why I do things the way I do them. So, first up, let me show you what's going on here. Let me pull this camera off. Alright, so this is the Holtzforma G366 I'm going to be building. So as you can see, I got a crank, seat gaskets, bearings, and that head's just to show you kind of what I'm planning on doing. That head won't work. It's meant for a smaller engine, but it's just kind of show you where I'm kind of headed with this build. I needed the OEM crank because, I needed something a little stronger, and you get kind of an idea where this is headed. And I also got this 670 Super that I want to get into. I want to get that built. And I actually have a home light sitting over here on the shelf that I'm going to be getting into as well. But this is kind of where we're headed. So I've had a few folks ask me why I didn't show any process of the build on that last saw, or why I haven't shown any of that stuff for a while. And there's actually a very logical reason. So those kind of videos get the least number of views. And if you put out too many of those videos, you'll actually hurt your channel. So it kind of hurts the channel if I produce a bunch of that kind of content, because not many of my viewers actually watch that kind of stuff. Very small fraction. And whenever I start putting out video after video after video like that, that gets a small number of views, it hurts the channel in general. So, what do I do? How do I show you that kind of stuff without it hurting the channel? It's something I've been kind of contemplating in my head, and I haven't figured it out yet. So basically one of the options is, a membership thing. Like, I have memberships on the channel, and say somebody pays for the membership or whatever, and I could put that kind of content as members only, because then only the viewers who are really truly dedicated to it, who are really want to see that stuff and willing to be involved that deeply, are gonna be able to see it. And I don't know, I'm kind of toying with that. It's the only reason though that I don't post those videos anymore, is because I realized that they hurt the channel in general. The reveal videos, all the great cutting videos and all that stuff, those are the ones that the viewers want to watch the most of, and they're the ones that help keep the channel flowing. But whenever you start putting out content that most people don't watch, YouTube starts stacking that up, and it does affect your channel. YouTube will put your content out to more and more or larger audiences if you keep your view counts up and high, and you just keep doing that video after video after video. YouTube will continually keep pushing the channel out to a bigger audience. But if you start putting out content that only gets 200-300 views, and you keep doing that one after another after another after another, and then your channel just kind of dies and settles in to this view count that never really moves. So, that's one of the reasons I haven't been putting out those videos. And part of me feels like I shouldn't be making it members only, but on one hand, I don't see an option. So I'm probably going to start doing that. I'm probably going to start putting out some of those build videos and stuff, but I'm making them members only. But it's only because they hurt the regular side of the channel. And that's the only way that I can think of putting them out there that won't affect the channel so much. You know what I mean? So I can't think of another solution. If you got a different solution, then yes, by all means, let me know. But otherwise, that's about the best I can think right now. So you guys who are members of the channel, you can expect to see some stuff coming that's only for you. So you're going to get to see some of the inside stuff and some of the techniques I use. Now, as far as that 50 with the Partner 5000, all the tips and tricks and all that stuff that I put into that saw, not one of them ideas came from anything I watched on YouTube. Not one of them. Now, I basically took all those ideas that I learned on YouTube and everything that I felt I should do, and I basically pulled them out of my head, balled them up, and threw them in a trash can. So I basically took all the ideas that I learned from reading some books and stuff, but mostly the Two-Stroke Tuner's Handbook. That's the one I've been studying the most right now. And everything I put into that saw came out of that book. All of the little tricks and tweaks and everything. All the ideas that came from that book. Everything that was in that book has been dyno proven on, motorcycle engines and stuff. So I applied it to a chainsaw. And what do you know? She worked out. Now, the adjustments on the squish, combustion chamber and all that stuff, that book doesn't get into it as deeply, but I built it for a lot of compression with a high roof. That was my intention to that. The problem with doing that is you can end up with a too wide of a squish band, which if you get too wide, that'll hurt your performance. So sometimes you got to do a little extra work to the combustion chamber to help solve some of those issues. The blowdown is real long, way longer than most people you'll see on YouTube go with. See, in the book says not to worry about so much about raising your uppers. It says, worry more about the width of the transfer and the direction of flow. So if you get in there and you start grinding on your uppers and you end up taking a nice flat port and getting more of a rounded shape to it, you're completely changing the direction of flow. So you might find that one saw performs better than another, and it's probably from your grinding on your upper. It's just not being nice and even and consistent. You really need to get some really small tooling and be very careful. I've noticed that, a little bit in the upper can go a long way. I did nothing to the uppers. So whatever, whatever performance change just came from everything else on that saw. And the book straight up says that it advises you not to play with the uppers, and I didn't. Now, do I think I could have done better by playing with the uppers? Well, I did put finger ports in that saw, and I think the high RPM that I'm able to achieve out of that saw came from the flow of the finger ports being able to supply power at the high RPMs. And I think by leaving the transfers, the regular transfers alone, that supplied my mid-range torque and low-end torque and all that stuff. And I think that's what's going on. My fingers were enough to supply that high RPM power where the regular transfers, were able to supply the power through the rest of the power band. And, that's basically the trick to that build, the secret to it. I'm going to try a few other combinations, but I'm going to be doing it on a Partner 5000 or a Partner 5000 Plus. And I have this S55 here, maybe something else I might build. But, I'm going to be trying some other combinations, and we'll see what we end up with. The 5000 Plus is the one I'm thinking about really trying to push it as hard and as far as I possibly can. I believe it's just a little bit more into displacement. And the S55, yeah, that one too. It's a 55cc versus the 50cc that I put together here. So if I can get more out of one of those, then I will. So that's kind of the plan. My goal ultimately is to achieve 13,000 RPM with a little bit of pressure applied on the saw. If you let the saw self-feed through the cut, it doesn't really give you an accurate reading. You want to apply at least a little bit of pressure, and that's kind of my goal, is to be able to apply a little bit of pressure and hit 13,000 RPM. That's my goal. And I might be able to achieve it with that saw after I do the timing advance and the carb and the stack air fill. I'm only 300 RPM away from achieving 13,000 RPM. So we're gonna see if we can do it. Boy, these kids are noisy, huh? They're out here riding a bike everywhere. They're just having a ball. But anyway, that's kind of the secret to the build. Now I'm getting ready. I'm gonna pull up this Holtz Forma, the carbon fiber looking one, the clone. And I'm gonna do a pressure test on it and see if I can find any air leaks. You guys who have been waiting for a chain video, all those chains on the wall, comparison on them, that's the saw I want to do it on, but I'm suspicious it has an air leak, and that's why we are stalling. I haven't got to pressure test it yet and see if we can find an air leak, and that's what I'm getting ready to do. So let's see if I can find an air leak, get it fixed, and then we'll be ready to do another chain video. But hey, I hope you had a good one, and we'll catch you on the next one. Later.